How's it going, Grant here? Welcome back to another camera comparison video. Today I have the Google Pixel 4a 5G up against the iPhone 12, which have the same cameras as the iPhone 12 mini. Now, like I usually always do, I'll show you photos and videos in both good and low light conditions from both the front and rear facing cameras to help you decide which of these two phone camera systems might be best based on your needs. So go ahead and take a look at the photos and videos, and I'll come back at the end and let you know what I thought about how each of these phones performed. Hey everyone, so here we are in the park testing out the rear cameras on the Pixel 4a 5G and iPhone 12 mini. And we're starting out with the ultra-wide angle lens. If I pan up here, you'll see both cameras adjust for that blue sky, so they'll look a lot deeper blue here, but the more natural looking color, at least in the viewfinder, is coming from the 4a 5G. The iPhone is pumping up that blue a little bit much, at least in the viewfinder. So again, what's nice is you can change between the cameras as you record. So main wide on the 12 mini and main wide here on the 4a 5G. And I can go ahead and pan over here to the right and we'll test out some of the zoom here. So 2 times on the 4a 5G, and let's get to 2 times here on the 12 mini. And we can go up to 3 times digital here on the 12 mini. And let's get to 3 times on the 5 or 4a 5G for comparison. And this can go all the way up to 5 times on the 4a 5G. So we'll back out to the main lens on each. And we'll test out the autofocus here with the 4a 5G first. Nice and fast as you would expect. Fast, focus, and refocus from the 4a 5G. And one more time. So we'll go with the 12 mini now. So iPhone there, as you expect as well. Really quick autofocus and refocus as well. And so let's go ahead and test stabilization and walk down the stairs. And both of these are going to probably be doing very well here, especially at 1080p as far as stabilization. But let me know what you think here. And we can see the nice fall colors coming in here in the park. We'll pan over and up into the sun to see how these lenses handle that afternoon light. Hey everyone, here we go again with the same test, this time in 4K 30 frames per second. Again, we're starting out with the ultra wide angle cameras on both the 4a 5G and 12 mini. The iPhone has a bit wider field of view than the Pixel. And if we pan up, you can see it again, adjust for that blue sky there. And I can go ahead and move over to the main wide angle lens on both, so you can see what that looks like here. And we'll pan over to the right and test some zoom here in 4K. So again, 2 times on the 4a 5G, and we'll dial in 2 times here on the mini. There you go. And we can go up to, again, 3 times digital here on the 12 mini and 4K. And let's try to get to about 3 times as well on the 4a 5G. And we can go up to 5 times again on the Pixel. And so we can back those both out and test autofocus in 4K. First with the 4a 5G. So Pixel, again, still doing well here in 4K. Fast and snappy focus and refocus. Now with the iPhone 12 mini, same thing. Really quick focus and refocus here from the iPhone as well. And so let's go ahead and test stabilization in 4K. Again, both fully stabilized here in 4K 30 frames per second. But do let me know what you think of the quality here as we check out the fall leaves again. And one last pan around the park into that afternoon sky here in 4K. Hey everyone, here's a front-facing camera test here on the Pixel 4a 5G and iPhone 12 mini. This is being shot at 1080p, 30 frames per second, and the 12 mini can obviously shoot up to 4K 60, but we're going to choose apples to apples here, same resolution and frame rate on both phones. I can pan around this way and actually back around this way because you can see the afternoon lights behind me, what that does to the exposure and the picture quality here. Pan around a little bit more here, see how it adjusts. And we'll do a little bit of walking so you can test the stabilization and give you an idea for how these cameras perform here in the changing afternoon lighting conditions and how the overall stabilization and video quality looks here. So let me know what you think about the front-facing cameras on both of these phones. Everyone, here's a low light test between the Pixel 4a 5G and the iPhone 12 mini. So as you can see, the sun just went down, so we're just after sunset here. And if I pan down, it's not quite that dark. You'll see the image adjust for the light. So it's a little bit decent light here. 1080p, 30 frames per second to get the most light here in low light. But again, I just want to give you something other than pitch black. So a little more light, a little more realistic situation here. You can see what the picture quality looks like here, a little more blue skies. For some reason, the iPhone is still warmer like it normally is. Not as cool, not as blue. But here's what the stabilization looks like on both of these phones. As we do a little bit of a walk here. And again, I'm sorry if my voice is muted. I'm wearing a mask since there are people walking around out here, as you can see. I just want to give you a quick test of low light here between the Pixel 4a 5G and the iPhone 12 mini here just after sunset. Hey everyone, so here we go again with the same test, this time at 4K, 30 frames per second. And we're still starting out with the ultra wide angle lenses on both. As you pan this way, you can see what that looks like there. And I'll go ahead and switch over to the main lens on each, on the iPhone, and on the Pixel. And we'll test zoom in here at 4K. Go into 2 times there on the iPhone, and tap to go to 2 times there on the Pixel. And max zoom here on the iPhone is 3 times. And again, 5 times digital there on the Pixel. Pan over here just so we can see what that looks like. And we'll go ahead and back it out. And we'll pan and do the stabilization test again. So 4K should look a little bit darker than the 1080p footage. And we'll see how this handles light transitions, as well as what the stabilization looks like here in 4K in low light. So again, as we walk over to the darker area, you can see how it handles that light. And then you can pay attention to some of any possible micro stutters that might be happening as we walk over there. And here we go, as we're around the corner, again, much darker. And we'll pull up here and point up and transition to the dark sky. And then pan over here to where there's a little bit more light. So there you go, 4K test on the iPhone 12 mini and Pixel 4a 5G.
Downtown, I got that heat, let's go.
Hey everyone, so here we go with the front-facing camera in some low light on the iPhone 12 mini and the Pixel 4a 5G. This is both at 1080p, 30 frames per second. The iPhone can shoot up to 4K 60, but let's test apples to apples here. And again, I have some pretty good lighting right now, and you can see how it handles the lighting in the back there. But I'll go ahead and start walking, and we'll test stabilization on these front-facing cameras and see how they're doing here. And we'll walk into a bit lower light condition, just like we did on the rear camera test, to see how these front cameras handle some of these changing light conditions here. So a little bit darker in this area, along with a fountain, so you can hear the audio and see how it competes with the sound of my voice there. And we'll pull up here, and I'll pan over so you can see some of the bright lights behind me and how it handles that light transition there. And we'll go ahead and pan back this way, and we'll step back into a little bit more of the shadows here so you can see how it handles a little bit darker area. So there you go, front facing test, 1080p, iPhone 12 mini, Pixel 4a 5G. Hey everyone, so now you've seen all the photos and videos for yourself. Let me know in the comments which one you thought did better and why. I personally think they're both great point and shoot cameras, But for me personally, I would take the Pixel for photos. I just prefer its more natural color tones and more contrasty look. But if you prefer warmer color tones and punchier colors, I think you're gonna prefer the iPhone. I also think the Pixel's portrait mode is a little bit more versatile. It does equally well on people and objects, while the iPhone still struggles on objects. As far as video, I think the iPhone still does better here, but I think the gap has closed quite a bit. The Pixel video quality is looking a lot better. The colors aren't as washed out, but I do still think the iPhone is doing better overall, and it still has better video stability. As far as low light, I prefer the iPhone just because its night mode is adjustable. Pixel's night sight is still very good and keeps improving, especially in the deeper blacks. There's no more purple or bluish color tones. It's just that it tends to get a little bit too bright sometimes, and it would be great to have the ability to dial it back a little bit. However, low light portrait mode goes to the Pixel because it has night sight enabled there, whereas the iPhone 12 and 12 mini do not. If you value portrait mode in low light conditions and you have an iPhone, the iPhone 12 Pro would be the way to go. So those are just my brief thoughts about how each of these phones performed. I don't think you can go wrong either way. It's just going to come down to personal preference here. So if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below. And as always, thanks for watching.